Hi, this is Wrestling Dr. Hal Lee for Pro Wrestling Extra. I'm here with Shooter Storm, known as the All-Nighter. I'm not going to ask you where you got that nickname. Let's just skip over that. Or you can tell me.
I'm just part of a tag team. Actually, me and Joey Knight. He worked in New York for a long time, so did I. But he was on the opposite side of the state, and I was part of the world's largest tag team, and he was part of the All-Nighters, which is a team that's been around for about 14 years. We both came down to Florida. We met into each other. We knew of each other, so we became the world's largest All-Nighters, and we ran with that for a while. Joey got another opportunity doing another line of work, so we ended up doing that, and I just stuck with the All-Nighter deal.
So let me do something real quick here. Stand up. So which one of us is actually taller? You got me about 2 inches. Okay. And let me ask you a question about that.
Yep.
Because when I started in the business, they told me I was too little. But I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I did not pay attention to wrestling back then. I loved football. I finally got into it much later, in 79, 80, and when I was invited to come to the East Coast Championship Wrestling training camp, and that was Johnny Montana was running that, old wrestler. But they all said, you're too little. It's been something that I've had to prove to people all my wrestling career, and I know it's got to be the same for you.
Absolutely. That's been the biggest thing. I broke in 2001, and it was still. I mean, it's always going to be a big man's business, a big man's sport. You know what I mean? But you just kind of have to find your niche and just kind of know your role. I know I'm never going to be the world heavyweight champion, and I don't want to be the world heavyweight champion because it would look absolutely stupid if I were to pin a big person. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you got to make sense. I mean, a lot of the time the wrestling fans aren't, some of them aren't the most intelligent people. There's nothing knocking on them. I mean, I was a wrestling fan growing up, obviously. That's why I got into business. But, when you really look at things, you know that somebody my size isn't going to beat somebody that's like, a Bruce Santee or, that size. Like, you got to put a little realism in what's going on and not play that. Don't make the fans feel stupid. You know what I mean? Don't insult their intelligence. That's basically it. So you just gotta find your niche, do what you gotta do, and I can go out there and wrestle a great match. I can go out there and do a comedy match. I can go out there and do a promo, whatever. I understand what I do. I go out, I make my money, and that's it. Like, I'm having a good time doing what I'm doing.
That's why I gravitated to the junior heavyweight matches.
Yep.
And like I said, I actually won the junior heavyweight belt and held it for a few years in South Carolina,
yep,
and some in Georgia. And I've watched your matches. You got excellent technique. You were in there. You know what you're doing in the ring. You can tell a great story in the ring. I've watched you work. I've watched you work against a woman. I've watched you work against a bunch of other guys that are bigger than you. You have talent. There's no reason why you couldn't wrestle a little bigger guy.
I can, and it's you just got to tell a story. You got to tell the right story. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. I went in there with women. I went in there with New Jack. And me and New Jack had he was everything was good. He was happy. Like, the crowd was happy, and I knew I was going in to get my ass kicked. I did it, but I went out there and I was able to go toe to toe and show that I could do it. And it's all. I can work with anybody. You just got to tell a different kind of a story to the people instead of telling that same story. I'm not going to go out there and try to, I'm a badass. Enough. I know what I'm doing. I know what you know what I mean? Like, as long as I go out there, my main thing is I want people, when they leave, I want people to say, that little guy, he was a jerk, but he entertained the hell out of me. That's what I want people to say when they leave the venue. I don't care if I'm in the main event or I'm here or there. I want them to leave and be like, man, that little guy in pink, he made me laugh. Like, he was entertaining. I'll come back to watch him again.
Where did you learn that promo ability that you have? It's great.
I actually didn't that wasn't something I learned at school. Like, when I was training, that was just something I used to as a kid. I mean, like, I loved wrestling. I do wrestling impersonations. I do a lot of things. So I would do stuff in the mirror and cut my promos and just watch a lot of good promo guys, the Ric Flairs. You know what I mean? Like, those guys. Those are the guys I watched for the promo. Was the Ric Flair? Even Shawn Michaels got a good promo for a while. But I mean, Arn Anderson. All those guys could cut promos. And that to me is, you're telling a story right there, because you're getting the people to come in and and they want to see what you can do in the ring after you talk all that crap. Now I'll talk crap all I want, and then I'll go out there and I'll get the crap kicked out of me. That's it. But the people want to see me get the crap kicked out of me. So that's what I'm doing.
Let me tell you, I've been backstage. When you get the microphone and you're in the ring, it's unbelievable, the guys coming out of the dressing room to listen to what you say. I'm telling you, the whole dressing room emptied to listen to you talk. You're that good.
Well, that's good to hear. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Now, let me shift a little bit. I see the tattoos. What's with all the tattoos?
Here's the deal. When I was young, I'm a little ginger kid. I'm a redheaded guy, so I had red curly hair. I had glasses. No tattoos, obviously. I was always the comedian, but I was the dork. So I'm like, now I don't want to be the stereotypical redheaded stepchild kind of look. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I got to do something to change that around. So I shaved my head. I remember the day I shaved my head was actually the day after WrestleMania 17. Stone Cold Steve Austin turned heel at WrestleMania, and I was like, man, this guy's great. This is awesome. I'm shaving my head. So I shaved it, and I was like, man, I got an alright head. Not too bad for the people at home. And then I was like, I'll go get a tattoo because I'm tough now. I'm gonna get a tattoo. I have a bald head. So I went and got my first tattoo. Then I ended up getting a couple other ones, and ended up working in a tattoo shop. Was apprenticing to be a tattoo artist. Didn't work. But working there, I ended up getting a ton of free tattoos because whenever my boss would be bored, he'd be like, "You want me to tattoo you?" So obviously this side over here is all like Irish and luck and lady luck and whatever on this arm. Got brass knucks in here for wrestling. Got my name Shooter with a dice for the O's. Over here is like all demons and skulls and stuff like, because it's just my attitude toward things. And up here, I don't know why I got those on my neck, but they were very painful. So here's a suggestion: if you plan on getting something on your head or your neck, cry like a little girl.
So, did you mention what wrestling school you went to?
I went to the Downpour Wrestling Academy. Actually, in 2001, I started, and I trained under a guy named Misery the Barbarian, who actually was, he trained at World of Hurt School, and then he came up to my town, and he ended up training me to wrestle. In 2004, I wanted to get polished up some more before I really, went to do any more big shows around, the Northeast area. So I went to a place called the Downpour Wrestling Academy under Hybrid Rain's tutelage. Hybrid Rain is a guy that trained under Killer Kowalski, graduated from his school, and gave his knowledge to us. He really helped us out a lot and got us where we had to go. And that's when I started really hitting the scene hard and working every weekend, whether it was in Vermont, Massachusetts, Canada, anywhere in New England, Northeast, anything, wherever I was up there, wherever I could get booked, I would do it. So the first 3 years, I was paying my dues, putting up rings, wrestling in shows in New York, and then once I got with Greg, then as Hybrid Rain, I started really getting my name out there and working a lot throughout the Northeast and Canada. So.
Right. And you mentioned somebody else who was a mentor to you that really took you under his wing. And
yeah, I mean that's Tommy Dreamer from he's WWE, TNA, ECW, whatever. He really took a liking to me. I did a seminar with him in 2005 in Vermont, and there was like 70 workers there, and we all had to cut promos. That was basically what the seminar was. So I got up and did my promo. He criticized everybody. I was probably 35 on the list of people. Got up, got a standing ovation, called me down, told me there was nothing he could critique me on because he loved what I did, and kept in contact for, right after that for about a year. Finally got a hold of me and offered me my WWE shot. And since then, that didn't pan out at the time. But then ever since then, no matter where he's gone, when he was in TNA, he got me a couple extra things on there. So he's like my father in the wrestling business. He's a guy that's actually, he's like my dad. If I have a problem, if I want to need some advice, whatever, he's a guy. And I think the reason that he took such a good liking to me is because his father passed away from the same thing that my mom is dying from. So we kind of became friends, and then he wanted to help me, and so that's basically the thing with Tommy.
I know you mentioned your mom just in, and I'm sorry to hear about your mom.
Sure.
But I know there's something special you do before every match, and you write "Mom" on your wristbands. I mentioned to you that my mom was my biggest supporter, even though she hated seeing her little boy get hurt, and I'm sure it's the same way with you.
Mm-hmm. I used to bring I'd bring the tapes home, when they're on the little video recorder tapes. I'd bring them home back in between 2000 and 2003. And I wanted to show her what I was doing, and she would always be, I can't watch, honey. And I'm like, Mom, I'm okay, I'm here. I'm not hurt, so obviously you can watch the tapes. I did okay. she didn't want to, but she wanted me to succeed. You know, when I got my WWE shot, she was very happy, and you know, like I remember a year after I had that shot, the first time I got called again to do another deal with WWE, and I never got the message, and I didn't, because you know it was just house phones back then or whatever. I had my stupid track phone or whatever, but I remember I came home and I was like, and Tommy had sent me an email, and he's like, hey, I tried to get a hold of you for another extra spot in Rochester, New York, and I was like, bro, because I left a message with your mom, and I was like, I never got it, man. So I went home, I was like, Mom, what the hell, you know, why didn't you tell me? And anyways, that was the first stage of dementia, and she had forgotten, and so I was angry with her, but now when I look back, I'm like, you know, she didn't know, like, she, you know, she's, now I go up to see her, you know, around Christmas every time, and she doesn't talk anymore, and she doesn't really know me. So, you know, it's one thing when you know, you're dying physically. Like I get, you know, that's something that really that you can at least, you know, still have them emotionally, mentally. But I don't have her anymore. Like you know, it's tough. So dementia's it's a real bad disease, and it's, you know, it's eating your brain away. You know, so but everything I've done, like I remember I promised her, I said, Mom, one day I'm gonna be on TV and you're gonna see me. So hasn't happened yet, but. Maybe it'll happen someday, and you know, she'll be up there and, you know, looking down, and always be proud of me. You know, that's what I want. So.
Hey, I'm sure that's going to happen one day. I know it's rough, you know, and all we can do is hope for you. And I really think that one day, again, that phone's going to ring for you.
I hope so.
You got the talent, you got the skill. I mean, you're probably one of the best promo men in the business and the independents for sure.
Thanks.
So we certainly will be pulling for you. And I want you to have a good match tonight, and appreciate you doing this interview with me.
Sure.
And I'd like to get together later on. I'll try to come up with some more questions where we can sit down and get into the wrestling business and what it really means. Talk about some storylines that you've enjoyed doing,
Sure.
and maybe some ideas you got coming up for the business.
All right, I appreciate that.
But